Hello, welcome to the Wargamer. I'm your host, Rob. If you're a fan of Blood and Skulls, then you're a weird dude, but that's okay because Games Workshop today have just released rules for the Blades of Khorne faction, and you're going to get a lot of Blood and Skulls out of this. So these are the free, not updated, these are free additional rules for your Blades of Khorne army that you're going to be able to play during the Ghyran season, which runs from summer 2025 till summer 2026. All these rules are free and online on the Warhammer community website, so go check them out. These are just my hot takes and everything that I get to say about them. They've also hinted at if you've been keeping up with these every day, and do let me know if you're someone who's been watching these every day. Leave that in the comments below. I think people are really watching these if it's the faction that they like, but I'm interested if people are keeping up with these on the daily. Either way, because I made one for every one that's come out so far. They have also updated, as well as the article the other day that updated all-out attack and all-out defense, they've also said that we're going to see updated terrain rules. So that's a pretty big deal, especially as they've talked about obscuring changing, because shooting definitely could become a lot more effective if all-out attack and all-out defense works exactly as it was written in the community article. But unfortunately, this isn't all of the information. They have released General's Handbook Fact 1, General's Handbook Fact 3, and now Fact 4, but unfortunately not Fact 2. So not sure about that. Anyway, listen, Khorne players not really known for their patience, so let's dive straight in. The first thing that they have released is 2 new battle formations for your army, which means you're going to be able to choose these on your army list, which is fun. So now if you are playing Khorne, or if you're playing any of the factions now, oh no, actually some of the armies didn't get battle formations. I think battle formations is like a hot pick, and you also got a new prayer law as well. So that's actually super cool. Other people got like artifacts, and they already have artifacts, so it's really a choice between which. So having a battle formation is super fun. Anyway, the first one, Tournament of Skulls, gives you the ability Bloody Competitors, which is once per turn in your hero phase, you pick a friendly non-hero Bloodbound unit and a friendly non-hero Blades of Khorne demon unit to be the targets. Till the start of your next turn, while the targets are wholly within 12 inches of each other, you add 1 to wound rolls for the target's combat attacks. Now, 2 units getting +1 to wound is actually pretty good, especially if you reinforce those units so they're as big as possible, so you get some big economies of scale. You do also want to be fighting. You're a Khorne army. Most of your units are orientated around fighting, so getting +1 to wound is big. Not sure it's going to be enough. Also, there's a lot of stipulations there in that you need 2 different styles of units, and normally if you have a hero or you have some items, normally they only benefit a keyword like demon or a keyword like core, like Bloodbound, which is the mortal version. And that's quite interesting for all of the Chaos armies, that they're broken out into the demon section, which really only messes with the demon stuff, and the mortal stuff, which only really messes with the mortal stuff. No real idea why they're put together then, but they are. So this is okay. The other one I think is much better, the Gore Tide. Once per turn in your army, in your movement phase, you can use the Tide of Savagery ability. You pick a friendly Bloodbound hero and up to 2 other friendly Bloodbound units that are wholly within 12 inches of that hero to be the targets. You can add 2 inches to the target's move characteristic for the rest of the turn. That's great. More movement is good, especially if you're infantry blocks that are quite slow. But if it's not your infantry blocks and it's some of your cavalry blocks, that's going to make them even faster, which is also really nice as well. You've got some really defensive pinning units in your army, which is very fun. Being able to move up the board super quick is good, and this is reliable and happen lots of the time. So I like that. I think that's a good, strong ability, especially when you've got things like Murderlust in your army as well. So I wouldn't be too mad at these. One thing I would say is they don't really necessarily expand how I could play the army. Like, they haven't picked a certain unit and said, we're going to buff this unit to the heavens in this battle formation, make it more themey, which would have been quite fun. But both upgrades are kind of okay. Pretty excitingly, you get a new prayer law as well, the Gifts of the Blood God. So you're going to choose between this prayer law and the other prayer law, and you have an unlimited spell called Gore Flesh, which is on a 3, nice low values, and you pick a friendly Blades of Khorne priest to chant the prayer, and then pick a Blades of Khorne unit wholly within 12 inches. So we start next turn, ignore the first damage point allocated to the target in each phase. The chant rolls an 8 or more, you can pick a second target. Now this is very similar to the Cities of Sigmar ability we saw recently, and is a little underwhelming, but also could actually be the difference between life and death, especially if you choose a large model like a Bloodthirster. Ignoring a damage in the hero phase, a damage in the shooting phase, and a damage in the combat phase is pseudo adding 3 health onto the unit already. So when you only have a limited 16 health, adding 3 feels very good. And sure, those units that are shooting it might just nuke it in that one round of activation, that like damage step, but it's not nothing. It's not nothing, and I quite like it. So the next one, the Runes of Loathing, I think is pretty cool. You pick a friendly Blades of Khorne priest, and you pick a Blades of Khorne unit holding in 12 inches. Until the start of your next turn, which is a great duration for this to be, the target has a 3-up ward save against damage inflicted by spell abilities, prayer abilities, or used by manifestations. If the champion rolls an 8+, you can pick another eligible unit to be the second target. Now, I like that a lot. I think that's really good. Spell abilities, there are some, depending on the meta as well. Like if, for instance, Croak still is very effective, a 3-up ward save against that is very good, especially as you're playing Khorne. So you're also going to get spell ignores, which are also going to generate you blood tithe. That's a fun combo that you're going to be able to have. You'd fail the spell ignore, but you still got a 3-up ward save. Don't hate that. Fighting manifestations means that, like, if you get multi-charge, you can maybe punch the unit versus punching the manifestation because you got 3-up ward save against it. Those are all good things in my opinion. So I like the Runes of Loathing. I think that's very good, very solid for the Khorne 8 Legion. I think that's good. The last one, I think, has got everyone very excited. The Gift of Apoplexy, which is cast on a 3 again, so very low value. You pick a friendly Blades of Khorne priest to chant this prayer, and you pick a visible enemy unit within 18. Till the start of your next turn, each time that target uses an ability that is not a move, charge, or fight ability, after that ability has been resolved, you inflict D3 mortal damage on the target. If the chanter rolls an 8 or more, you inflict a flat 3 instead of D3. Now, obviously, this is really fun on multicasters like Croak or Nagash, because it means if they want to cast a ton of spells, then they're going to take D3 mortals every time. Although they will know that that's what's happening. They do know that they have that ability applied to them. So if they do decide to cast 8 spells, taking 3 mortals every time, that's probably on them for being stupid. What's also really nice about this is, because of its really low casting value, also casting it in your opponent's turn as well with magical intervention is only going to make it a 4. That's pretty nice, because now you've got 2 units that if they do a bunch of different stuff, loads of abilities, they're going to be in some trouble. I'm pretty certain this isn't going to affect passive abilities. It's just going to affect active abilities. So like a rampage that you decide to do as an example. So that will be drawing the line or working that out. In the comments below, if you're 100% on this, I will come back to you on that in the future as I kind of look through all of the minutiae, and maybe even needs an FAQ. It'll be a great question. But I like this. I think this is fun and it could do a ton of different damage. Especially, and also makes your opponent, like, it really shuts down the enemy. It's like, cool, your unit's really good at doing this thing, like casting spells. Now you're in trouble, which I think is good. So I don't hate that. Good work there. Nice prayer lore, nice and different things. It's definitely like a defensive build. You've got 1 control spell, you've got a ward spell, and you've got a reduced damage spell. So a good defensive build. I think that's really positive. Let's go look at the war scrolls. So the first alternative war scroll that you get for Khorne, and this is an alternative to the main one. You can still use one or the other. So absolutely your choice what you want to do, is the Mighty Lord of Khorne. 7 health with a 3-up save. That's a pretty nice profile for a frontline combat character. Only moves 5 inches, but already know we've got a battle formation. We've got Murderlust. We've got other ways to make him move a bit faster, which is nice. Now he's got 4 attacks, 3s and 3s, Ren 2 damage 3, which is the super important part of his profile because of what we're going to talk about next. 4 attacks, Ren 2, damage 3. Let's immediately look at his reality splitting axe ability, which is once per turn at the end of any turn. This unit can use this ability even if it's been destroyed. Pick an enemy hero that was allocated any damage point by this unit's axe of Khorne this turn to be the target. Roll a dice, and on a 5-up, the target is automatically destroyed and cannot be replaced for the rest of the battle. Alarielle is a really good example of this. Dies, and she normally comes back. Bump, a 5-up, and it's going to go away. What I like about this is it is a 5-up. It's not going to be all the time. It's an incredibly powerful ability that you can sometimes fish for, but it's very cool. It's super thematic, and actually it's been around for a long time. The Mighty Lord of Khorne with the reality splitting axe has been like a pretty solid element of Age of Sigmar for such a long time. It's nice to see it in the rules. So I really like it. It's very, very fun. And there are obviously lots of big centerpiece models running around in Age of Sigmar because Like that's how Age of Sigmar 4th edition has been written. In addition to that, and this is also even if this unit has been destroyed, so you can sacrifice him, which I think is very fun, which would generate you 2 blood tithe, which is also very cool. You know, throw him into combat with the biggest bad in all the world and try to split his reality, which is very, very cool. Next up, you've got the Howl of the Blood-Curdling Savagery, which is once per battle in any combat phase. If this unit is in combat, you pick a visible friendly bloodbound unit that's wholly within 12 inches of this unit and not in combat to be the target. So the Mighty Lord and Khorne needs to be in combat. You pick another unit wholly within 12 inches of him, and then you can make a charge roll for them on 2d6. It's going to cost you 1 CP. The target can move a distance up to the charge value of the roll. That unit can move through the combat range of enemy units and has to end that charge within half an inch of a visible unit. So it works exactly like a charge, but it's done in the combat phase. So it's a kind of out of sequence charge. So it's already done in not in the combat phase. It's done in the it's not in the charge phase. It's in the combat phase. You're only going to do it once per battle, so your opponent's constantly being a little bit wary of it as well. Also, because of sequencing, like in your turn, I guess you could run with a different unit, charge with the Mighty Lord of Khorne, get those bubbles in the right space, so wholly within 12, then get a charge off, which your opponent wasn't expecting to happen, which is very fun. So there's some real play to it, but it's only once per battle. So very much like the reality split in X, it's not necessarily going to come up all the time, and it's not going to be a key feature of how you might build some armies. But it is fun, it's thematic, and it works really well. So I really like this, and I think it's a really, really healthy and good update to the Mighty Lord of Khorne that's bringing some flavor back to how you might play him, and is putting one of them OG models for Age of Sigmar back on the tabletops. Next up, we got Bloodcrushers. Bloodcrushers is a unit of 3 models with 5 health each and a 4-up save, and they've gone up 20 points from 160 to 180, but they have had a glow up in output as well. The Bloodcrusher Hellblade, so it's going to be 2 attacks per model, so it's going to be 6 attacks, 7 if there's a champ. It's 3s and 3s, rend 1, but it's got crit mortals and it's got +1 damage on the charge, so it's going to be damage 2, which is okay. And then the Juggernaut's Brass Hooves have got 2 attacks each, which are damage D3, although they do hit on 4s. A pretty good wound pool, 15 health on a 4-up save with okay damage. Definitely not like massive, but they're much more movie thanks to their ability Brass Stampede, which is done in any charge phase. If this unit charges this turn, pick an enemy unit in combat with it, roll a dice on a 3-up, this unit can move 2d6 inches. It can pass through the models in the target unit and must end that move in combat. Now, that's a really fun ability, although obviously it's key-locked to it being a 3+, which is a little bit of a yikes moment. You would like to be a little bit faster, like a 2+ or something, or just have it be automatic, but then maybe it might be too strong. What's fun about this, though, is you can obviously pin in other units that weren't expecting to get locked in combat, like shooting units, as an example. Maybe you could put your models closer towards a support hero and try to kill that, or, again, near a shooting unit and you try to kill that. Maybe you move even further and you're able to jump onto an objective and bring your OC of 2. So it's going to be 6 for the unit. If cavalry is reinforceable, there are rumors it's not going to be able to be reinforced, then that would be an OC value of 12, holding an objective, which is quite a lot to have a 2d6/2d6 move. So you could go really fast and be in places your opponent wasn't expecting, which is quite nice. And with Murderlust, is something, I guess, both of these 2 War Scrolls are making happen, where you're charging in places you're not expecting. Now you're double charging in places that you weren't expecting, which is pretty incredible. So that's a fun, interesting build. And I like both of these 2 changes to these units. Bloodcrushers have been pretty rubbish, so this is a nice change to them. I think that's very fun. And I'm happy with both of these 2 updates, actually. So overall for Khorne, I'd say really not too bad of an update. The army, like I've said, is split into 2 different sections. So the non-cross-pollination between them both is not necessarily something you don't see in other armies, which have got more focused, kind of like singular playstyles. But obviously, some other armies really suffer from that as well. Like Gloomspite Gitz is a good example, you know, where everything kind of works with itself, but not with each other, even its own ability. This is pretty fun. I would say I really like the Mighty Lord of Khorne. I think that's really good. I probably would try to run that, to be honest. 180 points might seem quite expensive, but I do love the idea of just finding, like, that's what they should be writing as War Scrolls. You should be running around with a Mighty Lord of Khorne in your Khorne army, and even if you're going like, you go into an event and you're only winning a couple of games, your dream is just to be chopping down as many gods or whatever else it is that you want. And that's really fun. And that's the flavor they should be bringing back to Age of Sigmar. So I'm super happy to see it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.